another up for us here.
Try to click. Ugh, that'll do.
Mockit NA facing off against Selfless Gaming. So very excited.
Mockit NA against Selfless.
Joining us now, the one and only Final Carpet, the beard in the flesh. You guys just get
I expected Mockit to roll this series
in the hair.
after seeing how well they did in Rocket Royale a couple of weeks ago. But then Selfless weren't performing too badly. A-Money was streaming. A-Money was streaming some scrims before this game, and I was watching them, and they weren't doing too badly. I was quite impressed by Selfless. I hadn't seen them play in ages, so I thought they were going to get rolled by Mockit NA. That being said, it is a best of 3, and in a best of 3, anything could happen really. Like, there's always going to be upsets in best of 3s.
Basically coming into this one.
Again, another reason why I would have preferred if it was best of 5s for the winners finals.
I always enjoy watching his stream. He's a great guy. Those arms, you know, those arms, the beautiful arms.
Mockit has killed off somewhat. Selfless did better than expected. Yeah, I guess Mockit didn't. They didn't have that honeymoon period anymore.
It's like I want to wear a tank top just like him. I'm sure he's wearing a tank top right now. He's just, man, A-Money, dude. Just keep it going, baby. Keep it going. Keep the dream alive for us fat people. Okay, so let's talk about this Mockit team because they made a dramatic shift.
Wait, are you talking about Lachinio's mom?
Left orbit, low 5 willingly stepped back and said, Zingjack.
You only talked to her when she online or when she was in Latch's room during tournaments. I see.
Is this a threat to the likes of or iBuyPower Cosmic?
Absolutely, because what happened was Lo-Fi was like
slumped. Skies. I thought you slumped her. Oh my goodness, that's a great spell check.
And a win in that. So Lo-Fi was like, all right, well,
yeah, I thought you slumped her, Pluto.
Like that's a bold move, being like.
Did you slump Lachinio's mom?
In the first groups, we need to make a change. I think I'm that change, and that's huge. And Zingjack played amazing.
Rizzo, is that 100% true? Real talk. Did Lo-Fi bench himself and hire Zingjack? Is that true? I know you're gonna say yes, but I'll ask anyway.
The pivotal player the day before group stages happened.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he was really upset he didn't get to compete. But now that he's in a team that has a big shot, you said they were 6th last time, and now with what if Mockit and since they've been performing actually better with Zingjack, that's a really good push for them, and that's actually a really good opportunity for them to potentially make it in the top 4.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean
100%. That's pretty cool to hear, Rizzo. It's pretty cool to hear.
I mean, they were kind of like
you know, despite mine and Lo-Fi's arguments and differences in the past on certain issues, I do have a lot of respect for that because it's something that I've done before, like realizing that I'm not the. Oh no, I don't need chat logs. It's alright, man. It's alright. Oh, I believe you. It's something I've done before where I just like bench myself from a team for the benefit of my teammates. But I mean, as far as his brand goes, I think it was pretty intelligent for Lo-Fi to do that because he wasn't gaining much of a reputation, positive reputation from being a pro player or a starter for Mockit NA. People are always blaming him and stuff like that, so I think it was a good move for his brand to bench himself as well. Because then if they failed without, if they failed without him, then people would be like, oh, it wasn't Lo-Fi wasn't the problem. And if they do well without him, then great, they're doing well. It's kind of a win-win for Lo-Fi, as it were.
They have the potential. I know a lot of people know A-Money. That's like he's like you said, he's a big person. A lot of people really know him. But as far as the way I feel, I think Matt and Sis are the ones you really got to look at. These guys have been playing.
Yeah, Carpet's spot on.
As long as I've been playing Rocket League, I've run into them in duos. They're so scary to go against. It's like horrifying when I see them. They have crazy good connection. Those two guys.
Lo-Fi and brand is an oxymoron.
You know, and because he's a great striker, he's a great 1v1 player. Where do you know he's got the mechanical skills? So if they can actually do what they do in duo queue, and A-Money can maybe just fill that third spot, I think that kind of works best for when their team is playing.
You think Lo-Fi is a great sub coach? I don't know if he'd be a good coach. I've never been that impressed by his like.
I mean, that would be like upset.
I don't know.
The tournament.
When I hear him talking about things that he thinks he has to improve on, I'm like, nah, he's a bit off here. Yeah, he's a good sub to have. Like he's a solid 4th player to have in the back as a sub. He might be able to life coach the team a little bit because he's 24 or something. I know he's an older guy, so he might be able to life coach them, try and make sure that they get out of bed in time for tournaments and that kind of thing. As far as actual coaching goes, being a good player does not make you a good coach.
But there's that honeymoon phase.
You're just happy you had the best series of all the NA games. Yeah, that's true. You did have, well, it was a close series.
Exactly.
You know?
So we'll see if
After a while,
that
it starts to
happens.
smell like burgers.
I'm excited to see Rizzo
We'll see if
in a
it
good
happens
team for
tomorrow.
once.
Yeah.
I don't think it will. I'll give Selfless a game here, though. I'll go 2-1.
Gibbs with the genius prediction. He's giving Selfless a game. I'll take a quick sneak peek at the bracket here. So Selfless beat like a couple of no-name teams to get here. Mockit beat a couple of no-name teams to get here. Earlier on, we saw Fake Out Nation beat a couple of no-name teams, and Exodus beat a couple of no-name teams. This is Welcome to North America, where there's just a bunch of teams that nobody's ever heard of getting smashed by recognized teams. Like, the depth of talent just isn't really there for NA. Not many upsets happening. But that kind of like damages the story as well, because you're like, well, okay, so what teams have these teams beaten to get into the winners finals? Well, we don't really know, because nobody knows these teams. They're just no names. Wait, why is somebody mentioning... Did I write something in the chat? Somebody just said Johnny Boy in the Twitch chat. Did I get mentioned by one of the casters or something? I'm so confused. Oh well. I will stay confused, I guess. There's talent for NA, just a lack of teams. Well, there's not the same depth of talent that we see in EU. There's not even close.
I'm actually really glad, like Gibbs brought it up about that honeymoon phase that we see. For those that didn't watch Rocket Royale, you saw the Zane Jackie to Rizzo combo, and it was unreal. Like, those guys went off. And it's probably the best that I've actually seen an NA team play as a whole. Like, they played with intent, and you just don't get that enough. But is that going to stay consistent?
But there are teams, Yemen, there are teams that have been long-standing teams, like XYZ. They've been together for a fair bit. Imperial, that's Vision. They've been together a fair bit. There's... Wait, I'm looking for other teams, and they're probably already in the losers. Where on earth are... Yeah, here's a Tomorrow. They got loser bracketed pretty early, I guess. And Goomba, they've been together for a fair bit. There's a lot of teams that have been around for a while. There's also... Some team are going under the name The Gays, like G-A-Z-E, and they had to rename because it was like homophobic, so they asked to rename. Other than passing plays, what are NA doing wrong compared to EU? As an EU player, you're curious. They're just not as efficient. They're not as... they play more risky. They don't play as intelligently. It's all basically the same. It all comes down to just they don't play as intelligently. They go for risky plays. They go for inefficient plays. They play slower. They rotate less efficiently and quickly. Kindergarten. There's a lot of teams that have been around the bubble of NA for ages, and they're not really stepping up to that higher level. Yeah, Mr. Little Thor, he's confirming what I'm saying. He recognizes the team names from months ago still being like 17, 30 and ranked. Yeah, like there's plenty of players and teams in NA, but they don't really, you know, it's hard for them to get better if they're not forced to improve. Like, they can stay relevant while being mediocre because NA as a whole is just weaker.
Territory. Zane Jackie tries to clear it out, but Sizzo reads it, putting it back onto the backboard.
Karma is LFT, yeah, she quit XYZ.
4 players in the corner right now. Now Zane Jackie, great clear off the top corner there, able to push it back, but A-Money reads it, sends it right back. What a tight angle there from Matt. Gonna be blocked by Insolus isn't goal, but my goodness, this has been a strong offensive showing from Selfless. Now Rizzo with a run. Sizz gets into the way of that one, and A-Money gonna try and clear it out.
Alright, who is a good NA player with no team, Yemen? Who's a good NA player with no team? Name one.
Zane Jackie dribbling it around, goes for some zoning of the goalies, but does not get the touch he was looking for. Matt going to clear it well.
Cosmic is the only NA team that tried to make a dream team. Well, I mean, the Exodus lineup is kind of a dream team in a way. They got Moses in instead of J-Ra. Oh, what a goal by Zane.
Coming in through the top, beating him to the front of it. Look at this ball. Insolences rotates out to get boost.
Well intercepted by Insol, and then nobody attacking this ball ahead of Zane. Karma, oh man. There's this guy called Andy who's really good. He should be on a team. Andy's not that good. I know Andy. Surely he wouldn't call himself a top player. I played against him and I was like, yeah, he's like alright. He's like a tier 3 player at best.
weird flip off the wall. Sizz picking it up now. Able to dribble it back into Mockit territory. Sends it off the backboard. Hopefully setting it up for a teammate. Pops it out. Rizzo
Wrong Andy? Oh, I was thinking of Twitch Andy.
Zane doesn't get a touch either. Insolence's last man
I think he's
back
not that
on
good.
defense.
He's okay.
Able to get the block. We'll see if they're able to clear that. This is a lot of whiffing.
Twitch.tv/Andy. He's alright. I don't know. I don't think that I don't think that there's that many like amazing players in NA with no teams.
Back on defense, last line again.
Well, so you said there's a lot, and you named like 2 people. Jay Lorenzi, never heard of him.
The ball's gonna remain in Selfless territory. Here's Sizz with a run, gonna try and play the mind games. Can't get it past Zane, who gets the stop. Matt's gonna take
Pure Peppy OP from like No Capes or something, or Neo. Oh, it's Neo. Peppy OP from Neo. It's so sad that he didn't make it through with Neo, because then the chat would have just been spamming feels good man OP every time he plays.
Their teammates in a very good position to score.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, what a save. Matt, I really like what he's done with his name. Just the M and the @ sign. Pretty good. Sizz just getting a bit outplayed here. I don't know where A Money is. Where on earth is A Money for this whole time? Sizz moving out there. He kind of makes it look as if he expects the goal to be defended behind him. I don't know where A Money went. Just gone.
Expect this to carry through for the rest of the tournament.
2:24 left to go. Mockit up by 1. Rizzo puts it over.
Is tier 1 like top blah blah blah, tier 2 top blah blah? Tier 1 to me is just like a player who is like a world class player, like a player who will go into any team and be able to take games off literally any team. Like just like a good example is Marky Duda. He can just hop into a team with pretty much anybody and still threaten to take games off any teams in the world. He's just that good. That's tier 1. Just like one of the best players in the world. Tier 2 is just a really solid player, the kind of player that you could stick in, like you could take a couple of tier 2 players and put them in with a world-class player, and they're going to be like, you know, really big tournament threat. But if you just take 3 tier 2 players, they're probably not going to be able to threaten the very top level of play, like because you need that enigma, that tier 1 player to carry the team. And then tier 3 players are people that even if you have a tier 1 player in your team, the tier 3 player is kind of going to be bad enough to counteract that. So like me, for example, I'd say I'm at that level of play. Because even if I was in a team with... Oh, what a mind game by himself. Beautiful. But yeah, even if I was in a team with like 2 fantastic players... well, maybe if I was in a team with 2 tier 1 players, we could still like win tournaments and threaten top teams. But if I was in a team with like a tier 1 and a tier 2 player, we'd struggle because I would like, kind of... I would ruin the tier 1 players' greatness. Oof. The net.
Wow, Mockit is coming out strong right now.
Good job on this team, recognizing how there is nobody back. Rizzo getting the first touch, coming in all the way from the backfield and plays it right over Sizz.
Great shot by Rizzo, actually. Really nice shot.
11 left. There's still some time, but man, 3-goal difference. That's gonna be tough.
Yeah, and those 3 goals being scored so quickly here. See if Selfless is able to respond. Sizz trying to set up on the wall, but doesn't even get a touch. Now Matt gets popped.
Sajinu's definitely gotten better since his time in Cosmic. I think that he's just utilized better in Kings of Urban than he ever was in Cosmic. Sajinu still has a long way to go though to be a top player. Like he's decent, but he's got so many flaws in his play, mainly defensively, and also he just like goes for stupid stuff all the time. And sometimes it works and he looks like a genius, but most of the time it doesn't work and he looks like a silly boy.
As they get later on, that they don't let that become I guess a consistency, because if they do, they are going to get punished for it.
Rizzo with a shot. Insolences with a follow-up. Is going to hit the crossbar. Where's Zane? Not going to hang there. He's just hanging back on defense.
But yeah, tier 3 players, they're people who can kind of, they can hang in a lobby. Like if you've got a big private lobby of players, like I could probably get in there and hold my own, but I'm never going to carry. I can just be solid and never carry. Tier 2 player might carry a few times, and tier 1 player is always going to carry. That moment when you went to watch Game of Thrones, but they put the wrong episode on? Wait, what, Jesse? Explain that. What? So, game 1, wait, I want to see those post-game stats again. Wow, Sizz with the donuts, straight donut game. by Sizz, so not a great job by him. Unusual. Sizz is a very good player. It's ironic that A-Money's got the best title, but I'd say he's probably the worst player in the team. He's the worst player for that team because Matt and Sizz are really, really good together.
I'm glad they're applying some pressure.
Johnny tier 3? Yeah, probably. I mean, then when you get into tier 4 player is someone who, if you put them in a lobby with like top players, they're going to be completely out of their depth. They haven't seen stuff like this before. They're just completely outclassed. They're like, wow, this is too much. Like, I'd say I used to be a tier 4 player when I first started getting into lobbies against top players, but I've played a lot against top players and with top players recently, so I've improved a lot in that regard. Like tier 4 players, if you put them in a lobby with tier 3 players, are probably going to do fine. Yemen, you might have a different like tier system, but the tier system in my head is very, very clear to me.
It's going to be tough because in the middle ground of the game, they're being pressured very well.
Worst player, yet you almost took out the number 3 team. Well, every team's got to have a worst player, A-Money. It's no big deal. Like, I'd say the worst player for Mockit NA is Insolences. Doesn't make him a bad player. I think Selfless did very well. They played very well in this series. I watched them scrim before this, and I was impressed. I saw them playing against Genesis, and I thought they did quite well, which was actually quite surprising. I thought that I hadn't seen them playing for a long time. I had not seen them playing for a long time. I wasn't even sure if Selfless were practicing at all, to be honest.
Matt going to be able to clear that one away. That was kind of an easy goal that Insolences missed out on.
I mean, it's hard to... It would be hard for just about anybody in NA. You couldn't take... If I was trying to think of players I could put with Matt and Sizz who would do better than A-Money, the list would be pretty short because Matt and Sizz have been playing together for so long and they work together so well that it's not easy to just get into a team with them and shine, as it were, like carry. Because they're gonna utilize each other a lot better than they are gonna utilize the third player, if you know what I mean. A-Money saying, thing is, I play back most of the times. I'm forced to stay back most times, but you don't mind it. Well, if you want to try and get involved more, just be more aggressive. Just believe in yourself. But by be more aggressive, I don't mean throw yourself at the ball like low percentage things. Just like, I don't know, play faster, I'd say. I've seen you be effective. I've seen A-Money be an effective part of this team. But if they want to make big moves in the group stages, they're going to have to step up a little bit. Because, Selfless came 7th, I'm going to say, in the last groups, did they? I think they came 7th. Like, for Selfless, the goal is to make playoffs and then have a good playoff run. That's the goal for Selfless. I think they just need to play together more and like actually take it seriously. Be scrimming and maybe even off-stream scrimming, because I know that scrims on-stream can be a bit distracting. Distracting, did I say that word properly?
They're crossing the ball across the field a lot. I mean, they're getting the spread of the field because their players aren't grouped up, and even though Selfless is doing a good job matching it,
Mockit NA are not playing as well as they did in the Rocket Rail International Finals, there's no doubt about that. In the Rocket Rail International Finals, they were just absolutely on fire. Zane, Jackie, Rizzo were just killing it. But I expect Mockit NA to make a real run at the NA group stage. A really good run. Because they're looking really good recently, and I know IBP are not looking that hot. Kings of Urban are not looking that hot, so the gates are wide open, as it were, for other teams to come in and, you know, take that #1 spot in NA. Teams like Mock NA, Genesis, Exodus.
There's Riz sending onto the backboard. Here comes Zane for the final touch. Not going to happen. A-Money gets the biggest piece of it and sends it back into the corner. Good defense from the Selfless squad. We really want to see them be able to convert this onto some offense. We're still scoreless. We're at 2 minutes.
That's good to see, especially for Selfless, if they're able to
especially the good old Lawler, especially. Just to remind you guys, if you want to get guarantee that I'll respond to what you say in the chat, be sure to tag my name at JohnnyBoy_I, because it's hard to read everything, and the chat's moving this quickly. My chat always moves pretty fast for a Rocket League chat for some reason.
We're in orange territory for a good long while. Now Rizzo with the strong clear all the way
in before NA team wins the LAN. Could happen. Could happen. There's still plenty of time for the NA teams to like get up and play at a top level, because like the NA players have got the mechanical skill. They've got the mechanical skill. They've got the communication capability because they all speak the same language. That's an advantage that they have over the EU teams. They're not going to have to fly for 20 hours to get there, so jet lag won't be a factor, or it might not be as much of a factor, I should say.
Final minute of gameplay is approaching, and we have yet to see a goal go in on either side.
Man, this Selfless team, especially Sizz, like you said, going up and just.
And yeah, like there's probably going to be a lot more social awkwardness from EU teams. Well, probably. I'm just trying to guess. But we'll see, we'll see. The LAN will be very interesting. I'm really looking forward to it. I'd encourage anybody who can go to go there, because it's going to be awesome. Just curious, why is there a skill gap between NA and EU? I've answered this question before, but in short, there were more start bets in EU, which gave them an advantage. And the players who kind of dictated the meta in EU, aka Flipside Tactics, had a much better philosophy with regards to Rocket League than the team that dictated the meta in NA, who were IB Power, originally Cosmic Aftershock. Because the style that Kronovi Gibbs and Sad Jr. kind of brought to North America wasn't as good as the style that Marky, Cux, and Mike brought. This is some poor defending by Mockit, by the way. Uncharacteristic miss by Rizzo. Can't really blame Zanejackie for trusting Rizzo to get that. Like, Rizzo's really just got to hit that ball with 10 seconds left. We get a Johnny Boy vlog from the LAN? Probably not, but I'm sure it'll be appearing in other people's videos, and I'll tweet some photos and stuff like that. Oh man. There we go. So, I mean, that's what happens when a game stays 0-0 for so long. Both teams kind of start to play cagey because they're so afraid of conceding with little time left in the clock. Rizzo's remembers that call out, I might whiff. Not something that you want to hear if you're going up for a ball. Or if you see your teammate going up for the ball, I might whiff. I guess he just didn't have enough boost, or he didn't approach it as early as he should have. What was I saying though? I was talking about why NA is not as good as EU, but yeah. The philosophy with regards to like how to make a Rocket League 3v3 team was better from Flipside Tactics than IBP, and for the longest time NA teams were trying to emulate IBP, EU teams were trying to emulate Flipside, so EU teams just got better. But besides that, and besides the fact that EU has more start bets, EU players just take the game more seriously and they try harder.
From Mockit this game, they had 9 last game, but that midfield to like that offensive defense.
Who do I think is the best upcoming team? Let's see. What do you mean by upcoming? Define upcoming. Like a team that isn't in a top 10 power ranking spot right now? What's my tier system? My tier system, tier 1 is like a world-class player, somebody who can get into any team and compete at the highest level. Tier 2 is somebody who's just solid, not like at that world-class level, but somebody who can, you know, compete with players at that level and kind of hold their own. And a tier 3 player is somebody who would struggle to compete at the very top level, but can get into a lobby with tier 2 players and hold their own. That's my short answer. Tier 4 is somebody who's going to struggle to compete with anyone who's like professional tier 2, 1. All professional players are probably tier 1 and 2. All professional players are tier 1 and 2. And then people who are like familiar with playing at that level are tier 3. Like champion level players are probably tier 3. Grand champions are probably tier 2, and then like the absolute best players are tier 1. Tier 4 is probably like people who are struggling to get to superstar champion level. That's the short answer. What tier would I put Crow and Latch? 2 right now. Kronovi is absolutely set to move up to tier 1 though if he just like starts doing what I say he should do, basically. Which is, you know, stop going for pinches, blocks, dunks, throwing himself at the ball, you know, flying diagonally across the pitch, overstaying in front of the other team's net. If he just like plays solid and smart, he could be a tier 1 player easily. Apart from Marky, who else I put at tier 1? The entirety of Flipside Tactics, the entirety of Weedham Girls on their day, Sicky,
more shots coming out from this Selfless team.
Turbo Pulsar. Until recently I would have said Pashy, but Pashy's not been impressing me much recently. He needs to step it up again. Gambit, Jacob. Other players in NA who are pretty close to that, but I'm not guaranteed, is like Rizzo, Espion, Pluto.
Luckily for him, the ball's going to go right back, and now they have an opportunity to score.
It's probably all the NA people I'd put in that category. Kronovi, of course, he's pretty close. Pretty close to tier 1. Just like, not playing smart enough recently, but definitely there. If he just steps up a little bit. ELMP, Doomsy if he starts playing a little bit smarter. That's probably all. That'll do for now. What is Fireburner? Tier 2, I'd say. A high tier 2.
Rizzo put it off the backboard. Ball gonna fall down into blue box.
Fireburner is very smart though. People like don't notice a lot of the smart things Fireburner does, and he's definitely the best defensive player on Kings of Urban. I'd say like Fireburner, Jacob plus just about anybody could be a good team, just because Jacob is so good at creating chances and threats, and Fireburner is just really good at spotting threats in the other team and shutting them down. Snasky, tier 2.
Step up and make that big play.
Turtle Garrett, they're both high tier 2. I don't think anybody in Exodus is... Well, I suppose if I had to pick one player in Exodus to stand out, it would be Garrett. But defensively, Garrett has been not very good from what I've seen. He needs to stop panicking in defense and like centering the ball for the other team. Stuff like that.
Now with people going up like that, they're playing a little bit more passive.
Mike? Oh, Mike's absolutely a tier 1 player. Mike's a beast. Scrub Killer, he doesn't play Rocket League enough to be tier 1. He used to be, but he doesn't play enough Rocket League these days to be tier 1.
When in reality, they need to apply that pressure they're so good at.
Yeah, Mockit really giving a lot of respect here to Selfless. There's a nice shot onto the backboard. Can anyone follow up? Who's the first one there? Rizzo puts it off the top. If anyone can get there, no follow-up's going to happen.
Another very close game. Like, this is so similar to the last game we saw, where both teams are just so afraid to concede that they're... Like, look how deep the rotations are for Mock. They're almost giving up pressure sometimes, both these teams, because they're so afraid to concede that they're playing super defensively. A-Money going for boost, what? Oh, that's a big mistake by A-Money. He does not need this boost, there's no way. Because Sizz is in the corner, A-Money's the last line of defense, and he goes for the boost. And he probably thought the ball wasn't going to go straight in, but even then, going for that corner boost is very greedy by A-Money. Yeah, Scrub not being able to play RLCS killed his drive, for sure. I'm sure Scrub will be around though, because he's, you know, very popular, and he's a very good player, very naturally gifted. He's got a big future in Rocket League if he plays his cards right, and I'll be, you know, trying to help him here and there. What a response from Matt.
That is lazy defense by Mockit. Look at this. Ball gets beaten by Insolences with Sizz. And Rizzo is just sitting there.
Rizzo's trusting Zanejackie, and Zanejackie called him off it into Swift.
Recognize that despite the call happening, you have the best position on it.
Yeah, no, you had 3 players.
It was cool to see how fast and well Jacob played. Yeah, Jacob's a great player. Very good player. Still a bit weak defensively and makes some very questionable decisions sometimes with regards to like efficiency and risk versus reward. But I mean, that's the case with just about everybody in North America, even Gambit to some degree. Scrub is the #1 caster, absolutely.
Sizz and A-Money both in the corner, both low on boost here. Where is Rizzo? There, he's going to be able to put that one up. Zane going to try and go for a touch, puts it out to the midfield. 30 seconds left. Insolence's last line of defense. Matt gets it past him, keeps it in the corner. Zane, no one really there. Rizzo rotates from
Zane called you off 2 hits this series and whiffed. 1 in game 3, 1 in game 1. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that he called you off that because you were just sitting underneath the ball and then Zane just whiffed. Sometimes you just have to, especially if you're 1-0 up and it's like you're blocking a shot, I would say just go for it. Even if somebody says they've got it, it's better to have 2 people go for the ball than nobody. People always say it's better to have 1 person go for the ball than 2, but it's better to have 2 people go for the ball than 1, or than none. If nobody goes for the ball, free shot. What a save. I did not see this game live. That's incredible. What a save. But yeah, Mockit definitely not playing as well as they were expected to, and Selfless are stepping up big. I didn't expect them to play this well with no practice, or definitely no public practice at least. So they did well. Sploon Shaltho Smitty. I would love to see competitive Rocket League in 5 years. Absolutely. I'd love it. Oh, Zane's left the net. At least he popped it, and it's not even gonna hit the roof. That's perfect by Zane, hitting that ball up above his goal, giving his team time to recover. 2 people flying for it. This so cagey by both teams. Both teams so afraid right now of losing, because it is a best of 3. Like, this is why best of 5s are just better. I think Matt with that mid boost. Oh, he's gone! It's great commentary. Oh, what a finish. Sizz not interfering with this play.
Oh my goodness, it completely set it up. Someone had to respawn and take that
Well
time
played by Zane. What a shot. Going for the far post right there. Beautiful shot. You don't think competitive Rocket League will be around in 5 years, but you have hope? I think it very well could be. Rocket League is set up to be a massive esport if Psyonix play the cards right.
We have, what is this, 14 shots total, but only 2 goals? What incredible defense we had from both of these teams. And it was interesting, like I was making the point at the end, that Mockit was very
I want to see that save again. If they don't show a replay of that save, I'm going back and watching it myself. Asians coming to Rocket League? I hope they do, because then they'll show people how good you can be at a game. They'll show people how good coaches can be in video games.
I don't know, man.
Crown & Jill's performance in RLCS, disappointing because they expected to qualify, and I expected them to qualify. They had a close winners bracket final with Mockit, to the surprise of no one. Then they lost in the losers bracket immediately after dropping into it. They just didn't have the experience or the consistency to
Well, you know, I know A-Money
to hold that together.
Told them to throw that game 3, so I'd be correct.
It's like you just can't get it wrong, man. Like,
I mean, like I'm not going to predict for the rest of the time.
I'm actually upset that you're right. Like,
Carpet always gets his predictions wrong.
Part of me dies. I get so upset that you're right every time. It's like without fail.
That was incredible. Well, while we break things down, let's go ahead and take a look at the Mobile One high performance replay and see what we had in store, because there were some incredible highlights in this game, Gibbs.
Yeah, right there, like a deflection from Matt, those are really hard to save, but like Insolences was coming up big in net, and then he makes...
Insult did have some great saves. The fact that he's getting these balls just kind of to safety, and then the mind game. Well played by Insult.
You have a potential opportunity at a shot, and then you deliberately kind of take it away from yourself just to see if you can get him, and he got him.
And there's
That's beautiful.
that you can do as a goalie there, but like, because when you have to dive, that player knows it,
that
they
whiff.
all the time.
That whiff by Rizzo and the whiff by Zane in the last game nearly cost him the series.
Last 10 seconds of the game.
You hear that there's a Crown & Jewels North America? Any more info on that? I'm not at all involved, but yes, there is. I'm not coaching them, or I didn't help build that team. What a save by Rizzo. Well played.
Big time with that follow-up goal. You know,
oh man, that's a horrible way to lose, because at the end there the ball does kind of just pinch perfectly towards Zane out of that 50-50. And not the best 50-50 challenge by the Selfless player in the corner, just letting it spill into the corner. His goal should be to keep that ball in the corner, prevents it from going dangerously.
This time I was like, yeah, we've been seeing a lot of 2-0s here, but for a team that is ranked 3rd in the community power rankings, I have to say, incredible. We'll start with you here. Did not expect that from Selfless at all.
Who's in Crown & Jewels North America? I don't know. Like, I think it's among Star, Aunt Jemima, and Maximo RL. I don't know much about them.
And then in the second game,
I'm not involved with coaching them or working with that team personally.
So they were patient. They sat back a bit. They played a little more defense. They interrupted plays and took the opportunity. And it took almost the whole 5 minutes in the game. They didn't score until 10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, Selfless wanted that ping pong game of like, we'll throw it into your zone, you'll throw it back to us, and we'll just go back and forth. That's
I heard that X3 scored a fantastic goal against the Flying Dutchman, Yemen. I heard they scored a great goal.
Setting up plays like at that midfield level. Instead, they were just worried about just getting it out of their
Yeah, it's super hard to get up into champion right now, Yummy. It's really, really difficult because of all the boosters. You're in the worst possible rating for it as well. Trying to play with 180 ping on NA. Rocket Bars at NA. Crown & Jewels Recruiter. Yep, you're absolutely right.
I think he thought it was a free net. I think his teammates told him. Oh, so close.
I mean, that was inches away from being Selfless favor, and then they would have had to push Mockit into the losers bracket, which would have been a really big upset.
Yep.
Selfless definitely still has a shot, though, with the teams that they have to go
For sure.
against.
You compare Mockit EU defense to that of Selfless. Difference would have been that the player who was in goal would have been in the goal, not outside.
Was some questionable loss, right? Ball kind of just hanging in the air.
I think you mean like the goalkeeper was off the goal line, and yeah, to some degree, being behind the goal line is an advantage sometimes because you have more time to react. And really, you don't need to stop a ball from getting near the goal. All you have to do is stop it from fully crossing the line. So being behind the goal gives you more time to react to that. And yeah, like a wider rotation into the net and then like sitting behind the goal line is often better than just being in front of the goal. So yeah, you're right.
Like, you know what's coming, but defense is
with your
hard
point.
when all three dive for balls and stuff like that.
Suki does like to sit in the net. Something that Torix does a lot as well for Ground Angel's Frost. I'm not a massive fan of it, to be honest. Sometimes it's right to do, but you shouldn't do it too much. Being stationary in defense leaves yourself very vulnerable to demos, and it makes it very difficult to react to things that just bounce off the top of the crossbar.
Ended up not paying, and Mockit kind of sitting back a little bit too much in those game 2 and 3.